Hey guys, LevelCap here, and today in gaming, a dangerous PC case has finally been recalled, Apple is trying to get Valve's data, Valheim hit another milestone, and much more. NZXT have finally recalled their H1 PC case because it literally catches on fire. The case comes with a PCIe riser card so you can show off your GPU. The problem is that the riser's PCB also serves as the mounting point. One of the screw holes is positioned right next to one of the power traces for the PCIe bus. And because the screws are metal, well, there's a high likelihood that the screw in the hole will short the power line and ignite the riser card. Owners of the case have been reporting shorts and fire since late 2020. NZXT's solution was to offer a nylon screw kit to customers that contacted their support services. Customers aware of the problem saw this as grossly negligent because most owners probably wouldn't find out about the fire hazard until it was too late. But thanks to recent coverage of the issue by Gamers Nexus, NZXT have been forced by the United States Consumer Product Safety Commission to do a full recall. Gamers Nexus documented the design flaw with their usual brand of painstakingly researched YouTube content multiple times. NZXT initially had refused to act on those findings, prompting more coverage and outrage on social media. It's estimated that roughly 33,000 H1 cases have been sold across the US and Canada, and every single one of those is susceptible to this issue. It's highly recommended that you get in touch with NZXT to either return the case for a refund or get their nylon screw kit. Considering the H1 case costs $350, you would think that NZXT wouldn't have let such an egregious design flaw slip through the cracks. This is supposed to be a premium product, not an incredibly dangerous fire hazard. And generally speaking, you won't even find problems like this in your standard budget cases. What makes this flaw even worse is that most PCB design software, especially the kind that NZXT's engineers use, has built-in warning systems to tell you if a screw or conductive element is too close to a power line. As a designer, you'd have to actively ignore these warnings to design something this poorly. As of making this video, the case is still listed on NZXT's website but isn't available for purchase. It's also been pulled from Amazon and Newegg, however eBay sellers are still offering the case. If you're browsing for a new small form factor PC case on eBay, avoid the H1 at all costs. Apple are trying to drag Valve into their legal battle with Epic Games over Fortnite. Apple claims Steam sales and app listing data is vital to their argument against Epic's lawsuit. They say the data is key to understanding the scale of Epic's potential mobile game distribution. Though considering Fortnite isn't on Steam and Valve doesn't have an iOS App Store competitor and the Epic Store is a direct competitor to Steam, the argument really doesn't make a lot of sense. Valve responded by saying they don't see how the data is relevant to the case. It would cost a lot to collect, potentially expose confidential user data, and even hurt their competitive position against companies like Epic. Valve are a private company, which means they don't have to report sales or revenue data to the public. Releasing that info could expose the real depth of Valve's failures like Steam Machine, Steam Controller, and more. That would hurt their perceived value as a company. More importantly, giving Apple a treasure trove of data would undoubtedly give the company some leverage against them. Trade secrets exist for a reason. It's on the courts to decide if Apple's subpoena holds any merit and if Valve will have to comply with it. This week started with indie survival game Valheim hitting 2 million units sold in less than 2 weeks, and it's ending with them adding another million units sold by today. The game launched as an early access Steam title on the 2nd, and it's already racked up 3 million units sold. It's currently the third most popular game on Steam with over 300,000 concurrent players. That's up from an average of 200,000 just a few days ago. At this rate, Valheim might beat Dota 2 and become the second most played game on Steam. Valve banned a developer that tried gaming the user review system by setting their name to very positive. Steam's store pages for games list the review scores and developer info right next to each other. The developer of Emoji Evolution decided to exploit this layout to make it seem like their game was well reviewed. And because review scores can significantly influence what games people buy, Valve saw this as manipulating reviews, which is against their terms of service and developer agreements. Valve's ban is permanent. In our final bit of Valve-related news, Portal 2 got an update that adds Vulkan support and makes a ton of other minor improvements. It seems like the primary goal of the update was to improve Portal 2's Linux compatibility. Yesterday, we asked you guys what stories we should cover, and one of the top replies was about Bungie's planned expansion. If there's a story you think we should cover in a future episode, leave it in the comments below. Now, getting on with that story, Bungie are massively expanding their operations in the coming years. They announced some big plans like new offices, games, and a new initiative to make non-video game content for Destiny. They're expanding their headquarters from 84,000 square feet to over 200,000 square feet by the fall of next year. Also next year, Bungie are going to be opening a studio in Amsterdam. In 2018, Chinese publisher NetEase invested $100 million in Bungie to finance a non-Destiny game. It sounds like that game will launch before 2025. And while Bungie's expansion does sound quite big, well, it can pale in comparison to a company like Epic. The Fortnite developer recently bought an entire shopping mall covering nearly 1 million square feet. They'll be turning that facility into their new HQ by 2024. The Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia made a $3.3 billion investment spread across EA, Take-Two, and Activision Blizzard. That's millions of shares in each company. It's part of the Saudi government's broader effort to create propaganda that paints them in a less brutal light. The country, and specifically the Crown Prince, has been heavily scrutinized in recent years for their track record of human rights violations, politically motivated attacks against public and private citizens, and their involvement in terrorism around the world. The investment in these game companies comes from the Crown Prince's MISC nonprofit foundation. It's unclear what impact the move will have. The Halo Master Chief Collection beta update that adds an FOV slider and mouse and keyboard support on console was unfortunately delayed. It was tentatively scheduled to launch yesterday, but is now due to drop next week. The update is a pretty significant improvement that also adds a custom game browser and some other essential improvements. It'll be available on Xbox Insiders before going live for everyone. Before we get to our final story, I just wanted to wish everyone a happy Friday. We'll have our weekly news recap out tomorrow. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss it. Ubisoft's multiplayer brawler game For Honor is celebrating its 5th year with an interesting crossover. Indie platformer Shovel Knight is being added to the game with new cosmetic outfits, emotes, and executions. They'll run you a few bucks, but that's a small price to pay to look this fly. The crossover will be live until March 4th. For Honor might be in the headlines often, but it's one of Ubisoft's more interesting games. It originally launched back in 2017. Since then, it's been offered as a free-to-play title during select promotions. Ubisoft also completely reworked the game's entire netcode to switch it from peer-to-peer to a dedicated server setup based on feedback from players. These days, it has a decent following of dedicated fans. And that wraps it up for today in gaming. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap, signing off.